wins or more. And that's something that for all the success that this team has had, the state championships, the great coaches and the great runs they've had, to do that under Danny Horn and lets you know what type of coach he is, and to go from where we were 1-9, 2-8, 2-8 to now going 4 straight seasons of 10 wins. I mean, I'm really excited about it. And the thing I'm excited the most about, especially with this group, as good as they are on the field, you have such a great group of kids off the field as well. And hopefully their play will be highlighted a little bit more during this playoff run. And hopefully they'll get some of the more of the college attention that we know that they should garner.
And that's where it happens whenever you're matched up against premier programs here in this state. You know, that's really where Tyree started turning my head, was in games where I knew that the talent level on the opposite side was very, very good. Spanish Fort being one last year, and he's running away from everybody. Opelika this year runs away from everybody on several runs. I mean, that's where you know that he's up against premier athletes, and he's being able to do that should parlay into big things. Here's the first round. We're starting in Class 6A. Chelsea will take on the loser of the game that's important to us also, Blunt and Saraland. So Chelsea takes on the loser, or excuse me, Chelsea takes on the winner of Blunt and Saraland. That game will be this Friday night, and we'll continue to highlight that game throughout the week and on into the Saturday Sports Countdown. They'll match up in the second round there, also in the top half of the 6A brackets. Bessemer City taking on Parks Crossing, and that Johnston may have something to say about that. I think we got a darn good one here in Elliott City too. But different type of quarterback, as Pigram threw for 50 touchdowns last year, accounted for some ungodly amount of touchdowns. It was an obscene amount of touchdowns he accounted for overall with his legs and with his arm. So Clay Chalkville, they're about as good as you get, Scott.
Yeah, and I'd say there's probably 3 or 4 other teams that are capable of scoring with them. That's going to be the thing with Clay Chalkville. Everybody's pretty much got the same caliber of defense, but for the most part, it's going to come down to offense. And I don't see too many teams that can score with Clay Chalkville.
Moving down the bracket, Minor takes on Albertville. Huffman takes on Muscle Shoals. That's a Muscle Shoals team that's a top 5 ranked team there in Class 6A. If you look at a team that could potentially, we saw them in the spring game. Our Wildcats defeated them in the spring. Both great defenses, both our team and Muscle Shoals. So they're a team that you look and matching up with Clay Chalkville. They could come up with a way to get through. Pinson Valley takes on Austin, Briarwood Christian, and Fort Payne. I don't see much coming out of either of those. Hartselle, Gardendale. Gardendale's a team that took Clay Chalkville to halftime, only down by a score last week, and then the next thing you know, Clay Chalkville's winning by 30. They'll close out this bracket as Scottsboro and Walker. But back to the Wildcats as we close out this segment. Wildcats will take on the loser of Blount and Saraland in round 1. If they're able to get through round 1, we would move on to the winner of Wetumpka and McAdory. So more than likely, the number 1 seed McAdory would move through, so we would have to travel on the road to McAdory. Blessed enough, lucky enough to get through round 2, you would move on to a round 3 matchup, which would pit our Wildcats against that Blount Saraland winner is who I would think would be able to come through here. Park Crossing is another team that you could look of on the top of that bracket. So, Scott, I mean, I don't mind it through, you know, I'm telling you, I think through the first 3 rounds, you wouldn't have to see Spanish Fort or Opelika until the semifinals to make it into a championship. I honestly believe Spanish Fort and Opelika are there with Clay Chalkville as the class of 6A. Doesn't mean we can't beat them on any given night. I think we could. I think we're right there in the mix with any of these other teams, though, Scott. So I like our matchups in the first 3 rounds.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, the history between Spanish Fort and Benjamin Russell in the playoffs, it's soared, and so we understand that type of competition, and I would love to have the opportunity to beat them. But the Opelika game still, I think, is a little sour for everybody on this team. 9-1 consecutive seasons, them being the only loss in the regular season, only lone blemish is Opelika. So I would like to have another opportunity to face this Opelika team. But if it pans out how we think, Opelika versus Spanish Fort will definitely be one heck of a football game as well.
256-234-6221 is our phone number. Again, if you have questions about that Class 6A bracket, Benjamin Russell's matchups, call in. We'd love to answer them. We've got a couple of great guests coming up here. Close out the program. We'll catch up with Jason Franklin. That one at 6:35, and then at 6:50 we'll have the associate head coach at Central Coosa as they make it to the playoffs for the first time in 15 years. So congratulations to them, and we'll talk a lot more about them throughout the week. More Sports Blitz, the Sports Blitz Lake Martin Sports Roundup right after this. Welcome back into the Sports Blitz Lake Martin Sports Roundup. Randy Lee alongside Scott Hardy this evening. Hopefully, we'll being able to pick up on some technical difficulties that we're having on the TV side, and we'll have that back ironed in, and a little transition time for us at R&B Media, and just bear with us. We'll have it all straightened out at some point. We want to thank everybody out there that's helping us, though. So 256-234-6221. One thing I want to brag about, though, AHSA Radio Network, our scoreboard show on Friday night. If you haven't been able to tune that in, you really should. This past week, Luke Robinson was out, but David Burkhalter was on with JJ, Jeremy Jeffcoat. We're very proud of it. I can say, me personally, along with our HSA Radio Network crew, when I listened to it on Friday night, it's something that if I wasn't part of, I would listen to it, Scott, and I think that goes a long way.
Yeah, and again, I mean, they do a tremendous job. You have scores from all over the state, and for us, for an opportunity to hear what's going on outside of Alexander City and our surrounding area, definitely an attribute for us. So, again, we appreciate JJ and the rest, and Luke, and as well as everybody else who's involved with the radio show.
So make sure to tune that one in at 10 o'clock, and that one goes from, I think, 10 to 12 o'clock now, or maybe to 11:30. I'll get a highlight on that. But they also, from 9:30 till 10, they have a little local show that once Benjamin Russell goes off the air, they talk a little bit more about local, much like this program and this setup that we have here with the Lake Martin Sports Roundup. And then they move into 7 to 9 with Sports Blitz Live tonight, which is statewide. So looking up there, we're happy. We're on.
There you go, Mosley.
Glad to be up here. And so come on out to JR Sports Bar and Grill, and got a couple of great guests, and hopefully we'll be able to catch up with them in the upcoming segment. Scott, I wanted to mention, though, our volleyball team at Benjamin Russell High School, unbelievable season. They continue to make it as far as any athletic team that we have out there. I think they make it to the regional final, best I can pull, and very close contest there, and able to win a lot of this playoff round. And throughout the season, Coach Robinson, Pam Robinson, who is the athletic director and does a tremendous job. I mean, these girls have had a long stretch of winning here in Alexander City.
Yeah, she's a staple of consistency. I mean, both when she was with the softball program and volleyball, now solo with volleyball. She has dual roles, not only as that, but as an athletic director as well. Recently, within the last 2 years or so, being named as ASSA Athletic Director of the Year. So, I mean, many accolades for her. But as you said, a tremendous season. And after this call, we'll go ahead and talk a little bit more about the season for the Wildcats.
Caller, you on the Lake Martin Sports Roundup. Hey, Brian, how are you, buddy?
My prediction, Auburn 34, Ole Miss 28.
Auburn 34, Ole Miss 28, and Chad Kelly passing yards.
175.
175. All right, buddy, we'll put that in there, okay?
Central Coosa plays T.R. Miller first in the playoffs.
Central Coosa taking on T.R. Miller. So congrats again, Central Coosa making the playoffs for the first time in 15 years. Thank you, Brian. We appreciate it. Call in. There's your prediction for this week. Auburn and Ole Miss. Chad Kelly passing yards will be the tiebreaker. You can find that also on all of our social media outlets. A very easy way for you to go in there and pass those scores along, and we give away a prize packet, whether it be a Sports Call prize packet on our Sports Call side or a Sports Blitz prize packet to whomever gets that one correct or closest throughout the week. 256-234-6221. Your thoughts so far, though, on the regular season for the Wildcats, got to be one that will continue to go down as a stretch. Here's a couple of stats for you. The winningest senior class in Wildcat history was the 2003 senior class. During their 4 years at the high school, they won 44 games. So that's the 2002 senior class for football. But during their 4 years, they won 44 games. This Wildcat team has now won 40 games in their 4 years, as they win 11 4 years ago, 2 consecutive back-to-back 10-win seasons, and now 9 this season. So that is the first time with those 3 seasons, the first time Wildcats have ever won 3 back-to-back 10-win seasons for this Wildcat program. So that's an amazing feat. Those 2 had 9 wins, with the 2 middle seasons being 13-win seasons in 2000 and 2001. So, again, that's a great stat there. But what does that mean? It means the Wildcats move on. They win a state championship this year. They would go down not only as a state champion, but the winningest class in school history if they were able to pick up their 45 victories, making it through 5 rounds of the playoffs. Caller, you're on Sports Blitz.
Yes, guys. How y'all doing? This is me. I didn't know if I'm going to come on live with y'all or not, but I just want to say, talk about I know we're talking about the local Benjamin Russell, but Opelika, ain't they about like they get in the playoffs, and like I think the last 2 years, I think like Opelika been undefeated. Then they get the first round and win, and maybe the second round, and then all of a sudden they get to the third round, then they get beat. I guess that's just according to who you play, and like you said, we're gonna have a tough region either way it goes. I mean, like y'all was saying, Blunt ain't gonna be no easy. Ain't none of the team in Class 6A is gonna be easy. But when we earn it, we earn it. And like y'all said, our players come together and playing together. And y'all know I'm sorry I ain't made it to most of the game because I've been kind of working and I've been pulling for my my Bulldog, Lafayette, and I think they in the playoffs. If I ain't mistaken, I'm going to hang up and listen because I think it's a three-way tie between them because I know we beat Reeltown and then Reeltown beat Lynette and then Lynette beat us. So, but I'm going to hang up and listen. And my prediction is I'm going to do a prediction, and y'all ain't going to believe it. I'm going to say Auburn going to upset Ole Miss. Final score 37-31, and the guy to get about 162 yards pass.
All right. Thank you, Jerome. We appreciate it, buddy.
All right, man. Talk to y'all later.
All right. Thanks so much.
A lot of optimism from Alabama fans on Auburn's ability to beat Ole Miss there. I think that a little bit could be a little wishful thinking there, but especially or hopeful thinking for them because they definitely need it to come through for them.
That's even coming from you. Yeah, Luke Robinson sitting back there in the studio going, a Freudian slip by you there, Scott, because clearly you don't believe there's much of a chance. I'm not going into that. I've already talked enough Auburn today. Talking Auburn defense could turn anyone's stomach. So we'll move on into Thursday. I got a couple of days to take off before we have to jump back into that. But good point that Jerome brought up. Opelika is a program that I think will get over the hump at some point, Scott. But they've been snake bit in the playoffs, and they lose in a very random way many times. Last year, Saraland goes on to the state championship game. They go into overtime against Opelika in the second round of the playoffs, I believe. Opelika, Saraland scores, miss extra point. So Opelika feels good. Opelika on first down gets the ball down to the 1 yard line. So they've got 3 downs to get the ball in from the 1 yard line, then go out, kick their extra point, move on, have a chance to go play for a state championship if they can win the next couple of weeks. They get stopped 3 consecutive times. They pull their starting quarterback out, Matthew Christian, who, if you remember anybody high school, he was a great quarterback for them. They push Joshua Johnson back there in that Wildcat formation. They get stopped 3 consecutive plays, and Saraland moves on. They win the next couple of rounds. They go to a championship. It's been one after another. You can go down the last 25 years and come up with, I don't know, a dozen of those type of games for Opelika. I do think that they're just too good of a program not to get over the hump at some point in time.
It's going to happen. And so I've got a couple of my friends that are from the Opelika area, and one of them, his dad is a diehard Opelika Bulldog fan. And he says it's Bulldog, and the same thing kind of like Clemsoning or something like he says, calling it Bulldog. He said somehow we'll figure out a way to get there, and a lot of times they probably are the better football team, but somehow within the ramifications of the game, something happens and they end up going down. But I think that this is one of the more and we've seen a lot of talented teams in the last 10, 12 years, 20 years with Opelika, but since I've been covering high school sports in the last 9-10 years, I think this is probably the best Opelika team offensively and defensively they've had.
Yeah, I think the big story is they got a Division I quarterback. He's only a junior, in Jake Bentley, and they got a Division I running back in Joshua Johnson. I saw enough of him there the week 2 or 3 when the Wildcats took them on. Love a chance to play them again. Hope they're bulldogging again at that time. But that's a tremendous community. I've always had a lot. They're a big rival for us. The team that we played the most here at Benjamin Russell is Opelika. So it's a huge rivalry game and was always made up to be like that when we were going through school. But I've always had a tremendous amount of respect for your friends' parents and so many more that are in Opelika. I remember going to the game this year. We were actually on the visitor side. They're super nice to us. You look down, it is packed. I'm not kind of packed, but just completely packed on the visitor side for a team that most of them. It's kind of like going to Elliott City. Most of them don't have kids in the band or on the football team. It's just community members that have been going to games for 50, 60 years. And they continue to do that. That's the programs that are impressive to me, those type of programs. And luckily, we live in a community that way. And luckily, we got us a good football team this year, so the playoffs are going to be a lot of fun. Let's go ahead and take another break here on the Sports Blitz Lake Martin Sports Roundup. Come on out to JR Sports Bar and Grill. Have a great dinner. Bring your kids out in uniform. That can be a practice uniform also. They'll eat off the kids' menu for $3.99 this Thursday night. Scotty, you're heading this up. We'll have a Halloween party. Lake Martin Young Professionals will have a Halloween party. We got karaoke going on here at JR's.
They've got a poker walk as well.
Poker walk with United Way.
It's going to be a big deal Thursday. I'm really excited about it. And we want to give a big shout out to Miss Ann, who is being the host of the YP event. It couldn't be possible without her. So hopefully everybody can come out and enjoy that. It should be a festive night downtown Alexander.
It's going to be a festive, going to be a packed night, and that's what you want out there. So bring your festive attitudes and dress up.
You're dressing up.
I'll be here for the show, so I'll be in my attire, my sports call attire, if you can consider that dressed up. Andy and I'll be in our attire that night. So we'll go ahead and take another break. We'll have Jason Franklin on, hopefully, when we come back. More of the Sports Blitz Lake Martin Sports Roundup right after this.
All right, 30 seconds. Making arrangements in advance is one of the kindest ways of caring. Most of all, it allows families the time to focus on what's important, knowing your wishes are being followed. Advanced planning is a thoughtful family service. A family's legacy is love.
Hey,
we're here to help you celebrate it with an appropriate setting and ceremony. Radney Funeral Home. A family's legacy is love.
Coming back to you in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back, and thanks for joining the Sports Blitz Lake Martin Sports Roundup Show, live on location in beautiful downtown Alexander City at JR Sports Bar and Grill. 256-329-2328 is the number to dial in for them, and they'll take care of any of your delivery needs. And you can come in and dine in and check out some of the wonderful things on their menu. We should have Coach Jason Franklin, the Horseshoe Bend head football coach, here shortly. But before we talk about him, okay, we do have him on. So, Coach Franklin, thanks for joining us tonight.
Hey, guys. How y'all doing?
Doing well, Coach. Kind of trying to get rid of this wet weather outside. How was practice today?
It was a wet that one. It was a little sloppy, but we were able to get it in today and get some good things accomplished. So, all in all, a good day.
Yes, sir. Well, we'll go ahead and talk a little bit about the season so far. And obviously, the team is winless on the season, but anybody who's had a chance, we were talking about a couple segments ago, anybody who's had the chance to kind of follow the team at all knows how competitive you guys have been. What do you think has been the main factor with the losses?
Well, it's been self-inflicted, wounds. We've had a tremendous amount of turnovers and, from special teams to offense to, giving up some big plays that you can't do to compete in the region that we're in and the schedule we play. That's like I told the guy from the paper today. 8 teams off our schedule right now are either in the playoffs or with Reeltown and Lafayette and Lynette still trying to shake out who's going to be that third and fourth seed out of our region. So possibility there could have been 8 teams off our schedule that made the playoffs this year. So, schedule not being a great factor that was, something we couldn't foresee. But, I'm proud of our kids. They keep battling every week and they keep busting their tail and they keep working hard. And, it's resilient kids. I can't complain about that.
Yes, sir. And so kind of piggybacking off of that, at times you would think it could be difficult to, maintain a high level of intensity for the team, especially when it's struggling. What are some factors, or what do you do, I guess, to try to aid in that a little bit for the team?
You keep telling them that the life's full of adversity. They're building character right now. They're building some things that, a lot of kids don't go through and learn at an early age, and they're learning. It's not always going, be good days and something. You're going to have bad days, and how do you deal with them? And they've done a tremendous job of dealing with it and keep coming back every week and battling and giving everything they got. Because, a lot of these teams we're playing each week are, they have much more tremendous athletes than we do, and our kids just keep, busting their tail and keep working hard every day.
And that's something I want you to focus on as well. And for some people in the listening area who may not be familiar with the size of Horseshoe Bend and the size of your team, a lot of you have a tough region, as you said, as is, but when you're limited on the athlete side compared to some of the opponents on your schedule, how difficult is it to actually take that next step to being a team that's going to finish those games in the fourth quarter? Because as we said, you've been in a lot of them, but a lot of times depth seems to be the issue once you guys get ready to kind of try to close out a game.
Well, you can't really worry about the depth issues. You got to try to develop some, and we've got some guys that are playing a lot of minutes, but we just don't a lot of times have the speed to match these teams we're playing, and and I hate to say it, but speed wins ball games, and we don't have that kind of speed here, and we just have to work what we got and develop those kids the best way we can, and we got some good players. I'm not saying that, but overall, the teams we're facing each week, just, take Randolph County, they've got, they probably got 10 or 12 guys that run, 4 5s, and we might not even have one kid that does that. So, that's kind of a thing we've been battling this year with every team we face is, just, much more overall team speed than we've got. And, our guys battle, and, I'm proud of them for that.
We're here with Jason Franklin, the head coach of the Horseshoe Bend Football Generals. And, Coach, you're talking about some of the good players on your team, and one of those in particular is junior running back Drew Hill, who in my opinion is one of the better players in our area. Can you talk about the foundation that he can provide for your team going into the next season? Because obviously, while this season could be shot, there are some players probably over the last 2 or 3 weeks that you've given opportunities to play and kind of see what you have going for next year.
and things like that, and then turning the ball over on the offensive side, a fumble here, a penalty here or there, and that kind of knocks the kind of offensive team we are, kind of knocks us back if we have to, have a 1st and 20 instead of a 1st and 10, and that just kind of puts us in a bad situation that we're not really built for. And so if we can eliminate those things, I think we can go out and play with Coosa. Now, they've got a tremendous team this year, and that's something that's going to be tough to stop. They've got a good quarterback in the Graham kid, and a tough running back in the Whetstone kid, and those two things right there, they're going to be hard to stop.
Yes, sir. And that's Jason Franklin, Horseshoe Bend Football Generals head coach. Coach, we appreciate you joining us, and good luck this week against Coosa.
Hey, guys, I appreciate what y'all do for high school athletics.
Yes, sir. We appreciate it. We'll go ahead and take another break, and when we return, we'll have a little more of the Late Morning Sports Roundup coming to you right after this.
Okay.
Paints, lawn and garden, windows, doors, and cabinets,
Yeah,
all at our low price guarantee.
Okay,
Just be nice
I
to me.
get it. I guess I was selling you a little short.
Nobody's nice to me.
Me? Short? Really?
9 locations serving Lake Martin and Central Alabama.
Here for y'all.
For over 30 years, Tallapoosa Ford has been your
Let y'all
family-owned
sleep in
auto
on
dealer for
Saturdays
hot
and
trucks
go
and
hang out.
SUVs.
Oh, yeah, you got it this Saturday.
The Ford
Yeah.
F-150 has been the best-selling truck in America for the last 38 years.
You've had to have gone
The hot
over
new
this
15s
month.
are hitting the scene at Tallapoosa.
Come back to you on 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back into the Sports Blitz Late Martin Sports Roundup. Randy Lee alongside Scott Hardy. A little quick segment right here is hopefully we'll be able to catch up with Hunter Price from Central Coosa High School at 6:50 tonight, and he'll be able to talk about that Coosa team that has made it through to the playoffs for the first time in 15 years. So congratulations not only to he and the remaining of the coaching staff, but to that community as a whole, Scott, and that's how we'll close the program tonight. You've been you didn't grow up in the area, but you got plenty of family around the area, so I know they got to be excited.
Yeah, my mom said that if they won, she was going to go to her first Coosa game. And I don't think she's going to one since I've been a live Coosa football game, but she said she did want to go check them out. And it's such a good story to see the community be able to rally around them, and I'm interested to see what Coach Price has to say about it. But you know that community with so many athletes and so many shortcomings on the football side, to see it flip like that is a good story for everyone.
And you know they'll support. They support athletics. Let me tell you, in basketball, I think they're one of the best fan bases I can remember. I know they were the best fan base I can remember growing up. And so they'll come out and they'll support a winner, like many programs, but especially there in Central Coosa. That was a place that was special. It was special to go over there. You knew you had to get in the gym by 5:30. You wasn't getting in for the varsity games. You just hang out. And so it ended up being big crowds for the girls game and the JV team, just where they could be around for the varsity. They'll do the same for football, so congratulations to that community. Going to go ahead and take a break. Hopefully we'll catch up with Hunter Price here at 6:50. More of the Sports Blitz Lake Martin Sports Roundup right after this.
Or dig into a healthy and delicious salad. JR's offers daily lunch specials that save you money without sacrificing on taste. Check out their Facebook page for daily lunch specials. JR's can also cater any special event from weddings to tailgate parties and has a huge party room for any special occasion. Stop by soon at JR's Sports Bar and Grill at their location right off Highway 22 in Elliott City.
Keeping you informed.
Back to you in 5, 4,
with T.R. Miller, who did the playoff game. But they want to get excited about T.R. Miller, and they want to get excited about that. But we've got to keep that focused on the next task at hand, which is, of course, you've been this weekend at home.
And so, again, Coach, we've talked about, as you said, the type of athletes that have come from Coosa Central. You have Justin Tuck. Just on the football side, you have Justin Tuck and Damaris Thomas, who are both Super Bowl winning players, all-pro players at that, two great organizations in the Giants and the Patriots. So, obviously, they can see that you can make it coming from this area to play football. But what do you think was the biggest factor that led to the change of perception and change of culture?
I go back to, once again, the buy-in part of it. I know I keep hounding on that, but if you come in and you do everything, quote unquote, the right way, whether it's 3 coaches or 20 coaches, and we're all on the same game plan and pushing forward with one game plan, that was the main thing of changing the culture, and that's what we talked about when we got here. The culture was just, let's just get by, let's just get by with whatever's going on today. And my thing was, why not? Why not us? Why can't we win? And you start to see that you change the weight program. Coach Smith's come in. He's kind of changed the weight program around as how they lift weights, do things different way, because you got to be stronger to compete in any kind of sport today with the weight programs, the way that they have set up for Alabama athletics, high school athletics. You got to have a good weight program. And so that was changing everything from the weight program to how we practice, to actually lifting and doing everything the correct way, not practicing, practicing when you need to practice, kind of backing off when you don't need to, but just changing the culture, making it exciting for the kids. I really think the kids get excited about football when it's exciting in practice. Maybe play a little music during practice, on the walkthrough days and stuff like that, and make them enjoy the sport of football, rather than just say, oh, here we go again, it's another practice. And once you start doing that, you start seeing it on Friday night. And in turn, you start seeing W's on the board.
Well, again, that's Hunter Price, who's the defense coordinator and associate head coach of the Coosa Central Cougars. So, again, Coach, congratulations on a tremendous season, and we wish you guys success and good luck in the playoffs.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate y'all having us on.
Yes, sir. That's going to wrap things up here tonight on the Lake Morton Sports Roundup Show. I want to thank Coach Hunter Price representing Coosa Central, as well as Coach Jason Franklin representing the Horseshoe Bend Generals. That'll wrap us up, as I said. So Luke Robinson and myself will take care of things on Sports Live. So for Randy Lee, I'm Scott Hardy saying thanks for joining us. See you next week.